Welcome back to another episode of Pretty Powerful Podcast. I have an amazing guest. I know I say that all the time. I have an amazing guest. She is a beauty mogul. She is a beauty icon, and I would love to refer to her as a living legend. Listen, it's not many people that's called legends that's still living. That's why they call it a legend. Most of them have gone on, but she is still here among us, and she is literally a legend, a living legend. She's a wife. She's a beauty pillar in the industry. She has changed lives like mine. You know, I've gleaned from her from afar, right? And she's still making noise, right? And so without further ado, to introduce to some and present to others, Miss Freddie J.
Hello.
My God, today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. So just, I could start in so many different areas, but if you could just kind of let people know that may not know who you are, just a little bit about yourself and who you are in the beauty industry, and then we're going to bring them full circle.
Okay. So I am Freddie J. I've been in the industry for 32 years, I believe. I started a little bit late. I'm not going to tell you how late, but I started really late in the industry. And, I when I entered the industry, I got in a salon with some great mentors. So I kind of kickstarted and just shot off, doing some things in the industry. So I really love education. So I became an educator. I had some traumatic things to happen first once I got into the industry. But after that, I became an educator, educated for Dudley Products, worked with Bronner Brothers for years, competed, did hair shows in Dallas, hair shows. But even before that, I did fashion shows before I got into the industry. So I've always done shows and classes and, those kind of things. Enjoy educating. I think education is definitely the way to go. Education is, the way to catapult your way in the industry. Whatever industry it is, I think education is where it lies.
Absolutely. So you've done some pretty powerful things within the beauty industry. For starters, I would like to refer you as to the Vidal Sassoon of our time. When you get into hair cutting, I don't think our culture really understands what being a cutting specialist and just niching down and really becoming a cutter, right? Mm-hmm. It takes skill, it takes great education, and it takes really, really understanding your craft to become a cutter, a real cutter, right? And so when I think about you, when I think about the Patrick Bradleys, I would just like to refer to you all as like the Vidal Sassoon of our industry, right? And so before, all the social medias, and I was sitting in your class and I walked out of the house today and I meant to bring the DVD because, I've made a good name for myself now doing short hair, waves, curls, but it all started with you. I don't know if you know that. Because a lot of people now are, they made a name for themselves with the curls and the waves and the Betty Boop styles. But back in like the early 2000s, I took your class and I still have that DVD. Now I can't watch it because I don't even know. I don't think they make DVDs anymore. But before the social media, you were doing that 20 years ago, which, I feel like they're not knowledgeable about you. And back then, and how this thing is now became trending, but it started with you. And so now that it's no DVDs, how can a person learn from a Freddie J? What are you doing now in the education sector?
Well, I still do one-on-one classes. I still do classes, and I still educate somewhat, but basically, through the one-on-one classes.
Got it. Okay. Well, That's good to know because I'm here in Dallas now. So that's good to know. So, you've done some pretty powerful things like the movie Good Hair with Chris Rock, which was huge. What was that experience like, and how in the world did they find you for that movie?
Okay. Well, of course, I started educating at Bronner, and I competed. And my first competition at Bronner actually was in 2000, I believe. And then I competed again in 2002, and I won the competition. So the lady that made me Bell, who was basically the producer of the Hair Battle Royale, she called me one day and said, "Would you like to compete again?" And I said I wasn't competing anymore. I had won. I competed another time. I was like, I'm done. I'm done competing. And she said, "Well, Chris Rock is going to host the show." And I said, "Oh, my nephew was in the car with me." And I said, "No, I don't think I'm interested." And I hung up. My nephew was like, "Are you crazy?" He said, "I think you need to call her back." And I was like, "I don't know." I said, "Okay." So I called her back and said, "Oh, okay, I'll do it. I'll compete again."
Wow.
And that's how it happened. So basically he was just supposed to host the show, but then it turned into, it was going to be an HBO special. And then it turned into, it was going to be a movie, a documentary, and it was going to, what they were going to do it at the theaters. So I was like, okay, this is cool.
Wow.
So it turned out to be a great, I loved it. I always do something with hair cutting. So my thing is always hair cutting a different way. And, my first experience at Bronner, I think I cut a girl hanging upside down, and then I cut one hanging on swinging on a swing. So I was trying to decide what I was going to do when Chris Rock hosts, right? So since it was going to be on TV, I was like, okay. So I was at work one day and I was like, yeah, I really need to do something. And the reason I came up with the cutting thing was because of Barry Fletcher. So he was one of my mentors. And whenever he would get on stage, he would always cut hair different too, him and the hair gangster. So I was like, what am I going to do? So I went to the shampoo bowl and I turned the water on and I was like, I'm going to cut hair underwater. So that's how that came up. So just always challenging myself to do better than what I did before and just doing something different. So I enjoy the industry, not just behind the chair, but beyond the chair in competition. So I like that.
Wow. So with the whole DVD thing, because, that was back when I was coming up. I graduated high school in the year of 2000. And I graduated in May. I started beauty school in June. So I was just getting into hair at that time when you were like at your peak, I guess you could say. And so the whole education thing has been huge for me because had I not invested, and let's just be honest, them DVDs was not cheap. Back then, they sure wasn't cheap, because we were like, we didn't know financial literacy. We was just trying to get into the business and make some money. And a lot of, girls like me just getting into it. We spent our last dime getting to Bonner Brothers. So for me to spend that type of money on DVDs, and I have several, and then I have several DVDs from Pat. And them DVDs wasn't cheap. So that educational side for me literally changed my life. I honestly don't think like the impact. And I can only speak for myself. I really, and I'm gonna try not to get emotional. I really don't think, because had I not learned how to cut, I wouldn't be sitting here with this. Kendall, the master stylist, would be nothing. She wouldn't even be. So had it not been for you, Pat Bradley, y'all put me in the game, this would not even be. And so I don't really think you understand the magnitude of the lives that you've changed, because these types of platforms are not being created enough in our industry. So I could tell you this sitting while you're alive, not to wait till you dead and gone. Be like, oh my God, Freddie J, like she did this, she did. No. You're in the land of the living, like you can hear this. And so just for me to be able to sit across from you. I don't really think you understand your contribution in the lives that you've changed. I'm just one that can tell you. And so having said that, what's next for Freddie J? You know, I know, we're all looking for a different way now to retire. And I don't know if we have some tissue. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to make you mess up your makeup. I don't know what's next. Retirement. I'm sure you're pretty much retired. You might go in a day or two, and that's just to kind of, do what you love doing. But what's next? Like, what is she doing now? Is there a mentorship program, or is it a boot camp coming up? It's because it's so easy to say, okay, I've done my time. Now I'm moving on. But what do you see in the near future as it pertains to, not being behind the chair so much, but still that contribution back to the industry, even for people like me that's still behind the chair, but looking for another way of making income, but still, being in the industry?
As far as that goes, to talk about the haircutting, when I discovered that I really enjoyed haircutting and understood balance and things like that, when I took the classes with Dudley from Barry Fletcher and learning from Patrick myself, working with him because we were all on the Dudley team, and then going to some of the other classes, Tony and Guy, Pivot Point, love Pivot Point. I began to understand that we, because, we just really started cutting hair and straightening our hair and doing certain things a little bit later than others, probably in the 70s, 80s. We were wearing the afros. There was some, but hair cutting was not a thing in our culture. And we were a little bit behind. So when I started cutting hair and understanding hair cutting, that's why I wanted to get in that arena, just to bring it to us. And that's why I always went to all the different classes, and I would bring it back to Bronner Brothers, to others in my community, so that we could be at a different level of cutting hair. Yeah. And I think that that's what gave me joy, is that I knew that I was bringing something different and a better foundation. I believe in the foundation of hair cutting, and not just, the styling, but cutting the style, and getting people to understand that gave me joy. And as far as now, I still have, do the one-on-one classes. Maybe there's a boot camp coming up. Maybe there's something. I just think the people, and I'm not going to say the industry has changed. One of my friends, sales rep, asked Mr. Dudley, why has the industry changed so much? And he said the industry hasn't changed, the people changed. So because of that people change, I've become a little bit disheartened. I know there are people who still want haircutting classes, because I get inboxes and stuff all the time about haircutting classes and the one-on-one classes, which I still do. If there's enough interest out there, I wouldn't mind, doing a boot camp or doing something, since Bronner Brothers is, I'm not sure what's going on with that, but I do like the one-on-one classes, the boot camp concept. The people who are really interested in haircutting, I'm still here. And I would definitely like to continue to leave that foundational haircutting, and not just somebody who says they're a haircutting specialist. And my thing has always been, they don't know the parts of the shears. We have to know our tools. We have to know everything about haircutting to say we're really a specialist. Absolutely. And I'm not saying everything, because I don't know everything, but I know the foundation. And I think once we stick with the foundation, you can add any technique or anything you want to it. So, I'm here if anyone still wants a real foundational.
I think the need and the want is there. I don't think enough awareness is being brought to the forefront of social media, because that's where the majority of everyone is. And if God needs to use me to merge it together and to bring you, I don't know. But he keeps bringing me into proximity with you. And so it's very well needed. And like you say, if they don't know what a moving stationary blade is versus a moving blade, or you don't know what concave or convex, like you don't know that terminology, you can't really teach hair cutting. And it's just certain things that you just have to know. Social media can only get you but so far. And so, again, I thank you. And of course, I know you have multiple streams of income as well. So can you tell us a little bit? We have BECA. Can you tell us a little bit about BECA?
Yes. So BECA, I've done so much in the industry, in the beauty industry, but I was concerned about my community and always have been. And so therefore, BECA was created. It was created during the pandemic. I was going to do another hair show, but the pandemic, it was still a little bit, we needed to rehearse and do all those things. So I said, okay, let's take the date and do a community event, basically kind of merging the beauty industry with the community to help create economic growth in our communities. So that's what BECA is about.
And what does BECA stand for? It's
the Beauty Industry and Community Awards. So basically, we decided to create an award show to award people in the community and people in the beauty industry. And the whole premise of it was to promote shopping Black intentionally. So that was the thing behind it. We get them together, get people to network together, to exchange businesses. And it was created a lot of different people supporting different people that they may not have known, and they met at BECA, and I'm happy for that. And then people just became aware. When you don't think about it, you don't just intentionally shop Black. And that's always the thing we said, just intentionally shop Black. Go to a Black venue, go to a Black doctor, go to a Black store, shop Black or patronize Black intentionally to increase our economy and our own community from the inside out, instead of always asking for help, because help is not always there. We need to do it ourselves, because we are some of the biggest consumers in the world. And so I say, why not consume from one another a little bit more?
I love the message. I think if we ever really understand our power, and we're better together than we are apart, we could take over this whole world.
Exactly.
And so, again, I love that concept. I love you. I love everything you've built in the beauty industry. So what's next? Is it retirement? Is it, I know you have a new endeavor. Would you like to tell the audience? And then after you share that, if you could just give a something valuable for the next up and coming hairstylist, or someone that may be wanting to get into hair cutting, what you have that they can take away.
Okay, so thank you. So now, being in the industry for so long, working behind the chair, I don't think you guys know the physical aspect of it, the physical and the mental aspect. So, I've been behind the chair a long time. I've done 20, 25 people a day, and that really takes a toll on your body. So I was introduced to a new business, a health and wellness business, and it's so important, and it's plant-based, so it is a network marketing business, and but it's health and wellness. So I think it goes hand in hand with the beauty industry, because the beauty, our bodies, what's on the inside is what comes out in the hair. So so interested in this, because one of the number one problems in our country, every country, is health. And we need to look more at our health and what's going on inside our bodies, and to do more plant-based, because fruit and vegetables are not what they used to be. So we have to supplement that. And why not with plant-based nutrition? So basically I'm into that, and I do the BECA, and getting ready to come up on BECA in New York. This will be his 4th event. So we do it in New York in August. And then this will be my 5th year for BECA. I don't know if I'll do it this year. I may do it at the beginning of next year, because I kind of want to change the time that I do BECA. So it'll be 5 years doing BECA. So we definitely want to keep that going. And then it'll be in some other cities too.
Wow. So how can people find you? Website, social media, text? How can we find you?
So social media, my Facebook page is Freddie J. Jones. Instagram is _Freddie J. My website is freddiej.com. So you can find me.
I love
Just
it.
Google Freddie J.
She's easy to find. I absolutely love it. Well, thank you so much
Thank
again
you.
for taking out time of your busy schedule to be here with me. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, y'all, we've just wrapped up another powerful segment of Pretty Powerful, the podcast. I'm super excited for what this podcast will do, the value that it will add. And thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next episode.